Hello students, today we are going to start with the first chapter of civics, that is what is democracy and why democracy. So after reading this chapter you will be able to distinguish in the government whether a government is a democratic government or a non-democratic government, and you will also learn the different forms of government that we have in this world. So let's start the chapter now. Hello students, today we are going to start with chapter 2 of civics, that is democracy and why democracy. Now before I do with democracy, you should know what are the different ways of ruling, that we have already done a few, so we are just going to brush it up. Now what are the different ways of ruling? That means the different forms of government. The first one that we have already done is the monarchical form, where the head is the king and then the son of the king, he becomes the next king. So if the king is having a daughter, then that daughter is married to some other king and she becomes the queen of that estate. So this is one form of ruling. Okay, monarchy. Now the second form of ruling is dictatorship. We have seen dictatorship of Hitler, and where all the powers rests in one person's hand. He is the sole person to take all the decisions. He will decide everything. So that is dictatorship. So he is the sole person and all the power is going to rest in one person's hand. Now if you consider today's scenario, then I can give you an example of North Korea, where Kim Jong-il is considered more or less like a dictator, because he holds all the power and he takes all the decisions of that country. Even the civilians, what dress they should wear and what they should talk, which festival is to be celebrated, even that is decided by the president of that North Korea, that is Kim Jong-il. Now, so this is an example of dictatorship. Now, the third form of rule or third type of ruling is military rule. In military rule, the military is the supreme power, it is the head, and there people do not elect the leaders. So military people, they do work hard and they get a position in military, but it is not the people who have elected them. So the military, it takes the power in their hands and it is the supreme power. We have the example of Pakistan and we will be talking about this in detail. So next form of ruling is the democracy form of ruling. Now what happens in democracy? People are ruling, people are elected by other people and they form a government. The elected people who wins the election, they form a government and they rule. And why are they ruling? Because for what purpose are they ruling? They are ruling for the betterment of the people. So it is by the people, of the people and for the people. Okay. So basically there are four forms of ruling. First is the monarchy, second is the dictatorship, third is the military rule, and the fourth is the democracy. So I hope you understand what are the different forms of ruling. Now we are going to do the chapter in detail. What is democracy? Now democracy is a form of government in which the rulers are elected by the people. So what is democracy? It is a form of government. I just said you what are the forms of government. There are four ways you can rule. So democracy is one of those ways by which you can rule. Now how? It's a form of government in which the rulers, how are they going to rule? By the rulers who are elected by the people. So we are having four important words in this. First one is a form of government, second is the rulers, third is the elected, and fourth is the people. Now all of these four words are very important and they denote us the four important features of democracy. What is it? Rulers, we have already, form of government we have already seen. What should be the form of government? whether it should be a monarchical rule, whether it should be a military rule, whether it should be a dictator rule, or whether it should be a democratic rule. So we are going to study what is there in democracy. So form of government, which form of government is there in a country. Then when the form of government is decided, what sort of rulers are they having? For example, if we take the example of Nepal and Bhutan, they are having kings. But then these kings are following the democratic way of ruling. So what sort of rulers are they? Okay. Now, then we have the elected. Now what do you understand by elected? Elected means who are electing them. If suppose there is a group A and the group A is electing the members of group A only, then is there a choice? If you are given a choice to vote, and you have to elect somebody from group A, either one person A or other person B, but both are belonging from that same group A. So you don't have a choice. You don't have a choice whether you are electing the same person. For example, if I give you today's example, suppose you have to choose somebody from Modi or Amit Shah. But both from BJP. You have to choose somebody from BJP only, either Modi or Amit Shah. So how much difference does it make? You will say that we can't even choose any other party people, any other party's leader. So is that an actual way of choosing? Are you electing in a correct way? No, you are not. So again, it depends. The elected thing also depends whether it is done in a fair way or it is not done in a fair way. Again, elections are done in a fair way or elections are not done in a fair way. Whether you have a choice of choosing people or you are choosing from one particular group only. Because now we are going to do an example for this also ahead. Okay, then we have the people. Now, who are eligible to vote? Who are the people who are eligible to vote? For example, in India, it is the universal adult franchisee, which is people who are above age of 18 years can vote, and they are the citizens of. They should be the citizens of the country. So anyone who is above the year of 18 can go and vote, and he or she should be the citizen of this country. So these are the 4 important points that you should know. That in a democracy, we have to see what form of government it is having, who are the rulers, who if the election is done, whether they are elected or they are nominated, how are these people coming, and who are the people who are choosing. Okay, so basically these 4 points becomes the features of democracy, which we will see on later. Now, because of this, Abraham Lincoln gave us this definition of democracy, that democracy is a form, democracy is of the people, by the people and for the people. Democracy is ruling of the people, by the people and for the people. So this famous quote that we have, it was given by Abraham Lincoln. Now, so we have done till now what the definition of democracy. What is democracy? So once again, I'll just show you what is democracy. Democracy is a form of government in which the rulers are elected by the